Hi guys, this is Vincent Cruz and I'm going to show you how to remove people or objects out of your photo, specifically your travel or landscape photos like the one I have in front of you of Laguna Colorada in Bolivia. So what we're going to first do is select the healing brush tool, which is near the top right, or you can press Q, and make sure the healing brush tool is highlighted or selected. You don't want the clone tool. With the healing brush tool, make sure the opacity is at 100, and we want to feather around 50 to begin with, maybe. Yeah, I'll start with 50. And pretty much what the feathering does is it makes the blending or the removal of the object not so obvious. It makes it a softer transition or smoother. And we want to increase the size as well. Preferably, I like to use a size just a little bit wider than the actual subject or object. And what I'm going to do first actually is zoom in here. And here we have, 4 people to begin with. So we'll start with this group of people here. And you'll see there's 2 circles on your screen or on the brush. And the inner circle is the actual brush that's going to be cleaning up everything, and the outer circle, or between the inner and outer circle, is like the feathering or the blending. And so when we do brush over, you want to make sure the inner circle touches everything. So I'm going to start right here, and what I mean by touches everything is touches the object that you're trying to remove. And so don't worry too much about the feathering being too big. The feathering should take care of itself. And now what Lightroom is doing is selecting a clone source on the left here. So it's taking this spot here on the left and moving it or replacing the people. So we'll see how good of a job it did. Actually, the path isn't too lined up, so what I can do is I can use the hand tool here and just move the path up a little bit, and just to get it lined up. And yeah, so that looks pretty good there. I'm just going to click on the before and after. Yep, so that's not too bad actually. I do see a little, let me hide the overlay actually by pressing the H key. There is a little bit of a dark spot here, which isn't a big deal. I mean, I can remove it, but no one will really notice it. It'll just look like a part of the ground. And yeah, I don't know if it looks worse or not. But there you go. You can just play around with that. But let's get to these 2 people here. So I'm going to remove this person or this individual right here. Remove her shadow or his shadow. I can't really tell. Yeah, I did a pretty bad job. So I'm going to reveal the overlay tool here. And it selected a really bad clone source. So we need to move that clone source closer to something similar. Right about here. Move it up. And that still looks ugly. And as you can see, it's still pretty bad. So what I'm actually going to do, well, let me double check if it's still pretty bad. Let me look at the before and after. I mean, it's not, yeah, it is pretty bad. I can see its outline here. So what I'll do is I'm going to delete this, and I'll increase the feathering a little bit more to about 81. Increase the brush size. Now I'll paint or brush over this person, and hopefully with a bigger feather it'll make a better, or do a better job. First I need to help it select a better source or clone source. And let's see, I'll hide the overlay, and that's actually a pretty good job there. It's not as obvious. Sometimes what can happen is when you are using a clone healing brush and it's duplicating another section, it may duplicate something and make it look obvious, but here it's not too bad. I mean, there is this path or these dark line or patches here, but no one can really tell it's a cleanup tool or a cleanup job. And now let's get to this guy here. Here it's going to be a little bit harder with the healing brush tool because of this rock. It'll be hard to remove him from the rock and then keep the rock's edges very sharp. So what I'm going to do is just remove the rock and the guy. And let's see what source or clone source Lightroom selects. And let me just show the overlay by pressing the H key, and it's did a pretty bad job. And this patch here or this sample here will be much better. And I'll just move it down. And that looks pretty good actually. So I'll hide the overlay and I'll look at the before and after. Yep, and Lightroom did a pretty good job. We did have to help it a little bit with the sourcing of the clone of the sourcing of the clone source. And let me just get out of this tool here and zoom out, and there you have it. There is this one other person here, but I'm going to keep him in just because he was a part of my subject and I wanted to photograph him overlooking Laguna, Colorado. So if you guys enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to smash the subscribe button or click on the like button. Thank you very much. Bye.